Ex4I on fractions and percentages on page 234 of your textbook. So we talked about how percentages comes from the word percentum, which means for every 100. So a percentage means out of 100. Now you don't have to copy this down, but it is very, very important to keep it in mind. The reason why we write out of 100, well, first off, it's a very easy number. You guys all know 100, but it gives us a reference. So earlier, our example of Oscar's laptop being at 3% means that we know that Oscar's very irresponsible, doesn't charge his laptop at night, but also that it's 3% compared to 100%. If I was just to give you a whole number of 6,342, it's going to be very confusing. It gets a bit hard to compare it. So percentages give us a comparison. When you buy stuff at the supermarket and it says 40% off, that's a good deal, I assume. But the percentages means we're saying based off the original number. Pretty straightforward? Awesome. Now, we have to be able to see, well, what are percentages in a maths perspective? So percentages just mean that we can alternate between different forms. Now, you guys already hopefully have worked with some decimals before, whether it's to a lesser degree or more degree, but decimals are just another way you can write fractions as well, isn't it? Yes. But decimals sometimes you find confusing, but then also fractions are sometimes confusing. So sometimes we want to pick the form that's most simple to us. Now, we worked through fractions, so let's focus on fractions and percentages. I want you guys to copy this table down that I'm about to write down. Thank you very much. So just copy this table down. It's not going to be the most pretty, but good luck. So the first one is fraction, and the second one is percentage. Can you guys read that up the back? Yes. Sweet. Okay, so fraction on top, percentage, and I'm going to write down the most common ones that we typically see. Okay. Now, Brody, if I said something was half off, what percentage is that? 50%. Awesome. So you're right, 50% here. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky. Henry, if I said it's a third off, what's the percentage discount? In other words, what is a third of 100? Taylor? It's 83.333. Good. It's a very, very, very particular one, because it has what we call a recurring decimal. So this is 33.3%, and it has a little dot on top. Okay? Does anyone know what that dot on top means? It goes on forever. If you put in your calculator, 1/3 times 100, or 100 times 3, same thing, it'll give you 33.3333 for the rest of its life. Now the calculator itself can only show a certain amount of digits, right? It only has a certain amount of space. So it'll stop after like 7 or 8 digits. But in reality, it just keeps going forever. Make sense? Sweet. 1/4, Henry. Good, 25%. 1/5. Okay. 15%. So if I'm saying splitting 100 into 5 bits, so 100 divided by 5 is 20. Good. As I increase the value of the denominator, so you see how I'm going half, 1/3, 1/4, the bottom number is getting bigger, isn't it? As I increase it, what's happening to Brody with the eraser? What's happening to the percentage as I increase the denominator, Lucas?
It is going down.
It is going down. The more I split up the number, let's say cut number of times, then the percentage goes down. I don't know why I couldn't say that. The percentage goes down. Does that make sense? Sweet. So these are the common ones that we'll be working with over the next few, well, let's say lessons. If I said, let's say 3/4 as a percentage, well, we know 3/4 is 3 times 1/4. So what will we do, Henry?
Basically just times 25/3.
Good. We can use this table as a reference and work from there. Okay, I'm going to go through an example, and I want you guys to copy this down as well. So, question 1. I want you to convert 17% into a fraction. So, Xavier, what does percentage mean?
A fraction out of 100.
Thank you very much. Fraction out of 100. Fraction out of 100. So all I need to do is I write 17 out of 100. That's it. Now, what we would normally do from here is simplify. Can I simplify this?
No.
Why not? Henry. Good. The top number is a prime number, which means only 1 and 17 got into it. We can't simplify from there. Let's do another question. Question 2. Also copy this down. Thank you very much. Let's do from fraction to percentage. So let's say I had 11 over 25. Now, remember, fraction means out of 100. Taylor, go for it. Okay. So we're trying to get to out of 100, aren't we? Because percentages always mean out of 100. To get there, I have to times it by 4. Agreed? Because I have to times 25 by 4 to get to 100. Now, if I times the bottom by 4, I have to...
Times the top.
Good. Times the top by 4. And I get 44. Am I done? Is that the percentage? No, what do I have to write? Henry. I have to write as a percentage. So if it's out of 100, I end up writing 44%. Does that make sense? Alright, I'll give you one more example and then I'll let you guys get started with the work. Question 3. Let's do 3 3/5. Emily, what do you reckon the first step I have to do is?
Make it an
Awesome, let's make it an improper fraction. So, what is 3 3/5 as an improper fraction, Noah? So you went 3 times 5 plus the 3. So, that gives you 3 times 5 plus the 3 over, in other words, just 18 over 5. Sweet. Is that my percentage? No. What do I have to make the denominator?
100.
Good. What do I multiply, Oscar? What do I multiply 5 by to get to 100? 5 times what gives me 120? So if I do it to the bottom, I have to 2, and I get, oh, that's a hard one, 18 times 20. What's 18 times 2? 36, and then add the 0, 360. Now, what is my percentage? 360%, we okay with that?
Isn't it possible to have a percentage number over 100?
Good question. So what we're familiar with is percentages less than 100 because it's out of 100. Taylor, do you have something to add?
You could fix that and you have multiples.
Yeah. If I had $1 and I made 300% on that, it's $3. So percentages can work bigger than 100%. We just don't typically work with them as much unless we're in specific fields. So it is 100% possible. Oh, I just made a pun. It is possible to have fractions above 100. It's very uncommon, but it is possible. I don't know if you guys have heard, maybe in movies or whatnot, it's like, wow, their profits were 6,000%. You guys heard of that before? Yeah, it is possible. It's just not as common. Now, we've gone the long way around. There's another way of doing this. So you can make it improper, or we can separate them. Would you guys agree that this is the same as 3 plus 3 over 5? Agreed? Happy, 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 happy? Happy times, yay. Okay, 3 as a percentage. What's 3 as a percentage? Yeah.
300.
How do you know that?
Because 3 times by 100.
Yeah. If I take it on this side, and I say, well, 3 is the same as 3 over 1. Agreed? Happy? Yeah, you guys aren't very happy. Happy?
Yeah.
Lovely. Agreed if I do this? Same thing? Yep. If I do this, same thing? So, same thing? Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 is 300%. Same thing. Now, 3 over 5. I have to make the denominator 100, don't I? So I times that by 20. I have to times the top by 20, and I get 60. Which is, Taylor?
60%.
Good. And then I add 2, and I get 360%.
What?
They both work. Oops. They both work. You're more than welcome to use either. Yes, Taylor?
If you remember that 1/5 equals 20%, then you could do that.
Absolutely. Remember, if we refer back to our table, 1/5 was 20%. So 3/5 should be 3 times that, 3 times 20 is just 60. So it really is just practice. I'll let you guys get started. Any questions? Sweet, let's get going.